So I'm told that Labour would meet President Akufo-Addo.
Oh, it has started.
Labour, yes, the president will meet them. If not, maybe tomorrow or something, he will meet them. And we expect that once they meet the president would announce to them, that he's decided to declare a state of emergency. He's, repealing the LI that allows mining in forest reserves. And he's also directing that, the Attorney General begins discussions with the Chief Justice to have a court set up to deal with illegal mining issues. We're waiting patiently. Anyway, I think we have the sound. We can listen to that before we go for our Drive Safe campaign.
Illegal mining known as Galamsey continues to wreak incalculable damage to the forest reserves and river bodies of the country. A major setback to the struggle against Galamsey is the rate of adjudication and punishment of our courts in completing Galamsey cases. Convictions are secured, but they come in trickles. Currently, over 140 cases of illegal mining involving over 850 accused persons are pending in courts in the Western, Eastern, Ashanti, Greater Accra, and Upper East regions of Ghana. Some have been pending since 2020. This situation, with all respect, cannot be right. We are in urgent national crisis, and all citizens and institutions with any form of role to play must be called upon to act. Your leadership, I therefore respectfully call on you to direct all judges sitting on Galamsey cases to conclude the cases, the hearing of which has started within 1 month from the commencement of the legal year on 10th October 2024. Reasonably, it can be done. But of course, it's always subject to discretion of the courts. And the judges are in control of the courtrooms. And as I said, justice dispense in accordance with the rules of procedure and the law. So insofar as the rules of procedure permit, so be it.
Right, so that's actually the Attorney General who spoke yesterday. He was invited to deliver an address to the judges. And in that address, he called for the judges to expedite the over 100 Galamsey cases that were languishing in the courts. The Chief Justice responded to say that, well, actually, usually the delays are from the prosecution. They are the ones who don't... who failed to expedite these cases. Interesting.
What I was looking out for is whether or not the two agree with the setting up of the courts. I only heard Tuayabua later on saying that, yes, they have no opposition to that. When you have an existential threat like this, you treat it just like what it is. So even if you are not going to make any major changes within the system, it sends a signal to people that you isolate and are interested in dealing with this problem with dispatch. And from some of us where we sit, we have not seen that alacrity in doing so, be it from prosecution through to the end of what they call it. Because you see, and even before prosecution, somebody ought to arrest them first.
Thank you.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Somebody should be interested in whether or not, by a case where you have a country, very wonderful people in the state, they are in the bush gathering evidence. They will set fire into the evidence. With the hope that when we come back home and have no case against the people, they'll be prosecuted properly. I mean, nobody will be convinced you are serious about this. So that kind of we still has a different expression. That kind of attitude that you are pretending to do something to represent something. People can see through it. People know that you are not serious about it.
But you see,
or the other one that you hope that, we have a lot of policemen very active in Accra. But when it comes to Galamsey corners, police, they see some, we have told this happen behind police stations. They move behind it. They wake up in the morning. In front of police stations too. They wake up in the morning. They see these activities happening. They pass by. They greet the people. They move on with their lives. I mean, you cannot convince anybody that you have a justice delivery system. And let's not just reduce it to what's happening in the court or outside the court. It starts from somebody taking on the people. Even somebody taking it upon themselves to say, I'm taking up big shots. In countries where they care about the justice delivery system, big shots are targeted and removed from such problems. In our republic, we have been interested more in arresting the 14, 15-year-olds down there in the pit and forgetting all of the people we call kingpins in the republic. They don't get invited. The media coalition sent a petition to the CID. They have asked the IGP on 2 different occasions about this petition on the prosecution of people related to this. Up till now, who has given us an update on that? Is there a docket? Will there ever be a docket? Has the docket reached the Attorney General's seat? And has anybody acted upon that? So, I mean, well, we can do the meetings and talks, but people can see through mere, what they call it, facade.
Two things. First of all, I mean, the lack of action on Akunta mining is something that I will never understand. When even the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources identified their activity as illegal, wrote a letter, an official document in which they said, what you are doing in this forest is illegal. Yet, no prosecution. What we had instead was our president going to stand somewhere and say that they are not mining in the forest as we speak. As we speak. For me, that thing, I took it as a personal insult. That a lawyer would come and tell me that because the offense is not happening as we speak, nothing should happen. So, Sexy Dondon, when he was arrested for allegedly killing JB Dankwaidu, was he killing him as he was arrested? Was he committing the murder at the time he was arrested? So how does a lawyer, the president of our country, the person in whom all of our natural resources are vested, the protection of these citizens are vested, how can you come and say this? And the justice system, as you say, completely impotent. Look, over 100 cases are pending. So right now, if even the police suddenly have a road to Damascus moment and decide that they are going to do their jobs and start arresting Galamsey people, when will their prosecutions happen? Kingpins or not, when will their prosecutions happen? Because there are 100 cases pending, and the Chief Justice and the Attorney General are trading blame. I would have thought, I mean, when the Attorney General asked for the help of the Chief Justice, of the judges in expediting these cases, I mean, I would have liked to hear the judges say, oh, well, we hear you, we will do our part to move these things along. But instead, this is what the Chief Justice said.
Petitions about delays through unending adjournments of cases. There's no need for a court to adjourn a case after the case management conferences for mention. My firm view, developed from 20 years of sitting as a trial judge and appellate judge, is that it should not be the norm that parties are made to dress up, leave their businesses, spend money traveling, and spend time just sitting in a court premise only to hear the title of their case called out and told to come back another date. On the issue of delays in Galamsey cases, the Attorney General will acknowledge that our engagements have shown that the delays often come from the work of prosecutors.
Well, I mean, listening to the Chief Justice, it might also be stated that, yes, while you expect the, cases to be fast-tracked, the prosecution also has a role to play. I mean, if the prosecution doesn't play its role, what can the judges do? You must make your case. And so, why not? They should go ahead and do that. But, look, who says we don't know those who are engaged in illegal mining? We know them. We know them. People were shown in videos holding guns. The police went and arrested them. We saw musicians wielding guns. Videos. We saw the police arrest. Didn't the police pick them up and prosecute them?
When they were picked up, were they holding guns as we speak?
Look, so if we are serious about fighting illegal mining, we see the people who nobody can convince me that people mine close to a police station.
Yeah.
And all the policemen there haven't seen these people who are mining.
And they go to arrest other people.
And they go to arrest other people. Look, the reason we have to deal with Galamsey now is that if care is not taken,
it will corrupt everybody.
It will corrupt everybody.
Yes, it will everybody.
Erastus told us.
This one, we can act. Imagine
Erastus told us the last time how some policemen allegedly own champagnes, which they rent between 1,000 cedis and 5,000 cedis daily to these persons. Now, if it is true that a policeman owns a champagne, how do you expect that policeman to actually go arresting Galamseyers? I agree with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu. If the military is sent to deal with this, they will deal with it. And also, even when it comes to the military, at a point in time, Operation Vanguard, we knew that people wanted to be on the operation.
Yeah.
So, look.
Some of the Galamseyers are protected by military.
I am happy that today Ghanaians are saying enough is enough. So whoever is sent to go and deal with it knows that you cannot come back with stories. And as we talk about the fact that enough is enough, the time to act is now. In fact, we should have done that yesterday. So let's not waste any more time with meetings here and there. It is simple. If we want to deal with it, we will deal with it once and for all.
Now, the biggest story is what we've been talking about. Expedite hearing on Galamsey cases, Attorney General to judges. And it's the biggest there with the other story. Students Loan Trust Fund pays 25 million Ghana cedi teacher trainee allowance. How did the ones paying for it?
I'm surprised.
Okay. Well, anyway, but we have converted the teacher training institutions into tertiary institutions, right? So they are now universities. So they are colleges of education.
Yes.
And yet they get allowances. Then the medical students get what? Loans.
I still insist, and that's always been my position. Government has no business paying teacher trainees allowances.
Yeah.
The same way government has no business paying nurses allowances. And two, Winston Amway, if there is space within our health sector for government to employ nurses, why not employ them? If there isn't, these nurses can look for jobs within the private health sector. The picketings here and there, compelling government, because sometimes in the past we talked about being bonded here and there, and so they couldn't work anywhere. I say, look, why do you pay the person allowance and when he leaves school, he can't get a job?
Yes.
Because you don't have financial clearance.
It's not as if you have secured job for the people.
No.
Now, the idea, for example, is that when I paid you, you are bound to work for me. I know that sometime even for medical students, some districts took it upon themselves to actually pay their school fees so that they will come back and work in the district, say, for like 5 years. Now, that would make sense to me. But in this case, as you are saying, you have no secure jobs for them. So they are sitting home, doing nothing. I was in Kwahu and somebody approached me that they are finished midwifery school, but they want a job in any other place because it doesn't look like they are going to get. They don't want a nursing or a midwifery job. They want any other job, even if it's in a hotel, so that they can survive from now until maybe there's an opportunity for them to work in there. Why do we put these difficulties on ourselves? It's also a matter of poor planning.
Yeah.
Because people in properly planned societies know that they need 50,000 nurses. So they have 54,000 vacancies elsewhere. They plan training 4 years ahead of that. I hope you get my point.
Yeah.
But we, so if they find some corner and they leave this country, will we still call them people who are not patriotic people? Because obviously I'm going to get a person a job.
They waited here for a job.
Yes.
They didn't get any.
So if they find themselves elsewhere, anyway. But let me bring you other stories you'll be interested in. Tertiary programs at unaccredited centers to be revoked. There was a time that the GTEC released, it was Accreditation Board, right? Really a long list from law schools to PhD programs to so many corners. But all that we're told that most of them you have to regularize and make it
because the
work
traditional
out
universities also were found to be running unaccredited programs. public universities.
But how did they tell me? So me, I applied to a school. I mean, let's say Legon. The presumption is that when I apply to Legon, every single program.
Exactly.
Yes,
It's
that
accredited.
presumption is sensible. I do not have to necessarily go and ask the GTech whether or not this program that Legon is running is supposed to be.
The other point
Why
is
did
that
they let them mount it in the first place?
don't they advertise these programs?
Yeah, they do.
The GTech, are they saying that they don't
see?
They don't see them advertising these programs?
So before admission, send out notices. You can't go in for this program because they are not accredited. So that you inform me. Don't do it after like the way they are going to school now. Then you tell the kids that the program is not. So on your day.
You see,
So they should withdraw and wait for you to do your accreditation or what?
am I accurate when I say that GTech is the regulator of accreditation?
Yes.
Right? Very good. So it is actually their job to ensure that unaccredited programs are not offered. I think it's as simple as that.
Yes.
You know, by the time the student has registered for it, GTech has already failed. By the time a student walks into a university and fills a form for an unaccredited program, GTech has already failed. They should have an eye on what every university is offering and ensure that every program is on the list of accredited GTech programs. Otherwise, it is not offered. It's as simple as that. Someone at GTech, their head should roll whenever such an example is found anywhere.
The Ghanaian Times says efforts to prevent electoral violence, 36 hotspots identified nationwide, and the National Peace Council intensifies public awareness campaign in affected areas. NDC advocates stakeholder examination of ECIT system. We talked about this yesterday. Expedite investigations into 54 Democracy Hub protesters. That's according to the Attorney General. And vote for my vice to continue my transformational agenda. President tells voters in Upper East. The back page says Ghana risk losing EU timber markets. That's according to Forest Watch. And Speed Up works on inner city roads. Minister charges contractors.
No, there's a story that has been of interest to me that I skipped. That's about inflation, right? So generally, inflation inched up small to 21.5%.
Yeah.
By something that the Statistical Service has done that is interesting, very, very interesting. They have brought on board, Winston, other price changes in areas like the bus and church fares. So specifically bus and church fares, cooked rice. So also other important ones like, bread. Then they also brought in the inflation when it comes to kinky with fried fish, which is seeing some year-on-year 37.5% increase. Kinky with fried fish. Then fufu with soup. Yeah, so Winston and Co. who love the fufu power, 43%.
Yes. That is true.
Oh, take your time.
No, it's true. It's
I
very expensive.
I was looking for pork, but I didn't find pork. Yeah, university fees has seen some 14%. Yes, I think, that's the figure. Yeah, 19%. So at least we know it's not just the other items, isolated items, but now they are putting the food, what they call it, together, like fufu and, and cooked rice and kenke and all of that, so that we can monitor it from that perspective too. Because up until this point, we're mostly monitoring from the perspective of the kenke indicators and all the others. But this is very prudent information that ought to be properly analyzed
And so
to see the impact, real impact. So when the people say kenke has moved from 2 cedi to 5 cedi, and they say now in such places in East Legon, they are mentioning 7 cedi. Problematic anyway.
So you see, and that's why I always like this government statistician.
Yeah.
So you know where the problems are.
It makes a lot more sense, actually.
And so what you do is then to come up with policies to deal with them. But this is our problem as a people. We know the problems. Okay? We won't do anything. We will hope that something happens.
The price of kenke and fish will automatically drop.
No, the price of fish is not going to drop just because because it wants to drop, or it has to drop. No, you have to do something about it. So you would have to find out first of all what is causing the increase in the price of fish. That's what you must identify. Once you've identified that, then you know what you must do to actually deal with it. So if, for instance, today, if we know that the price of kenke is expensive, and we know that the main ingredient in kenke is maize, so we know. So is it a case that the cost of maize is high? It is true. it's very high on the market.
And for more indications from Professor Irene, a jury's analysis, Kinke is also to a very large extent affected by imported inflation.
Yes.
Yeah, because very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I agree with Winston. This statistician that we have, he has been an asset to this nation. In this Akufo-Addo administration, I can't really point to anyone else whose work has been so useful and impactful consistently. Not many. I can't think of other examples. If you can, please add them to the list. But for me,
we should call on people to give us a list.
Prof, and look, and I think we should set up.
Yes. Let me just make this quick point.
A policy. Sorry, that from now on only Absunians should be made.
Let me make this quick point.
Yes.
Tangential point.
So the point now,
let's hear more.
The point now is that look, government, instead of, for instance, saying we're doing a planting for food and jobs too, and then you say we have aggregators, numbers. So these number of farmers, government should get funds. Say, Raymond Aqua, you currently cultivate 20 acres of maize.
Yes.
You have been engaged in the right practices over a long period of time. We're going to give you, say, $2 million or 20 million Ghana cedis so that you expand to, say, 1,000 hectares or 10,000 hectares so you can feed the nation, or you become part of those who feed the nation.
Absolutely.
I have always indicated, I do not buy this wholesale. We have given fertilizer and seedlings to 200,000 farmers. 200,000 farmers, and what was their output at the end of the day?
It looks good when they say 200,000 because it's a huge number.
Nobody cares about the output.
Anyway.
We threw seedlings at them. How many germinated? We don't know. We don't care. All right, the online review now brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy, Goyle Yenara India. And organized labor will hear from government before the 10th of October strike. Paul Grave Boachi Dankwa is the one making that assurance. And Nana Asante Bedietuo's illness is, being the subject of updates from Jubilee House. And I've got to say, we first heard of this a day or two ago. We were a little bit alarmed because there weren't a lot of details around the situation, but we are hearing that he is stable, and our prayers go to him and his family. Let's hope that he recovers speedily. All right then, time for the BBC News.